Pleased to be joined, as always, by Silverbacks assistant coach Carter Cochrane following the third straight win for the Silverbacks, this time a 4-1 score over the West Kelowna Warriors. Just want to start with your general thoughts. Felt like, again, a different kind of game. How did you think you guys played this afternoon?
I think it was just a really solid game in a second half of a back-to-back. And, I just think that we kept it simple as best we could and tried to limit their opportunities off the rush and in transition. We were extremely disciplined to kind of keep them off the power play, which is kind of becoming a little bit of a hallmark of our game. I'm not sure if this is correct on update, but I think we're the least penalized team in the league through the pods. So that's obviously something that we want to strive for, just in terms of limiting our penalties, but without sacrificing playing a hard style of hockey and a physical style, which I thought we were able to do. I think we lost a little bit of the emotion and energy from the past two games against Vernon, which is to be expected. Just the differences in the way the styles of teams play, and there's always a little bit more emotion when it's Seminar and Vernon. And but at times, obviously, we were still able to impose ourselves physically, and I think we got them off their games a little bit by doing so. And it was just a really solid, mature win from our group, where we just didn't let them get much, and we capitalized on the opportunities that they gave us.
When you talk about that maturity, do you think you guys look different when you have the lead now? You had a 3-1 lead for, going into the third. Do you think you guys look different versus earlier in the season in that maturity? And how so? How do you tell that you guys are kind of different with the lead?
We're definitely more composed. I think it's just right now, the difference when we have the lead is just a confidence thing. Like, we've gotten through those rough patches. We've won games wire to wire now, where we've just kind of been in control the entire time, and we haven't let up. I think it's just took our group understanding that the better we play, the more our opponents are going to rise up. And at times, if we're playing not our best, but we're playing well enough to get a lead, and then they ramp up and they start outplaying us, we've understood that we need to push back even harder. And I think it's just the understanding that, if we get scored on, whether it's for them to take the lead or for them to cut into our lead, we don't need to go out right away and get another goal just to make up. Like, we're up 2-0, now we need to be up 3-1, or we need to get that 2-goal advantage back. I think we're a lot more comfortable playing with the lead and understanding that, if they continue to chip away at it, we're going to get our opportunities, maybe not right now, but in the near future, and we'll just capitalize on those. Our special teams has been a huge part of why we've been able to kind of secure these leads, either get them and maintain them. At times, I felt we were giving up costly penalty kill goals against at inopportune times when we had leads that gave the other teams momentum, and our penalty kills stepped up huge all week here. And today, even another good example of that, like Lucas Mata's interference call there at the end of the game, and we're able to, when the game's 3-1 with 7 minutes left, and instead of giving up a PK goal against, where all of a sudden we're fighting tooth and nail to maintain a 1-goal lead, we're able to get a big kill there, and that allows us to maintain a 2-goal lead, which is obviously better than a 1-goal lead.
A PK2 where the captain, I think, played the whole 2 minutes. Let's talk about, I just want to talk about Nathan Morgan, because he scored the first goal of the game, and of course being put with Drew Bennett and Cam Recchi. Seems like whoever plays with those two seems to have a good game. Just talk about Morgie getting, kind of similar to Fish getting the monkey off the back yesterday, maybe Morgie doing the same tonight.
Yeah, Morgie obviously gone through a challenging pod, and guys are going to handle it differently. And in an environment like this, if you don't have it right away and you're not getting the chances you want, you don't have a lot of time to figure it out on the fly and just automatically start doing it again. There's no 4 or 5 days off to reset and get your mind right before getting back out there. And it can be like being stuck in quicksand at times. But, Morgie deserves a ton of credit for his mentality throughout this. I think early on he got frustrated, and I think once he realized that there wasn't anything that was going to come of the frustration, and he worked through it the entire time. And he's a guy that's jumping out to do a little bit extra on some off days where we have optional ice, or staying out late after practice just to get some extra reps in shots. And he's just really stuck to playing, trying to play his game in line with the team's game as best as possible. And he's been huge for our energy. Even when he wasn't producing, he's still being very vocal and picking guys up with him. And he's been playing good hockey. Like the last, 5, 6, 7 games here, like he's been really strong for us and just hasn't been able to put the puck in the net. And he's a guy that has all the abilities, no different than we talked about with lots of guys. And it's just a tough environment to kind of get out of a slump when you're kind of in one, when you're playing so often. And, for him to get that goal tonight and, for the way he scored it too, like what a great shot. And it definitely didn't look like a guy who hadn't been scoring lately with how he ripped that one. And he could have had 2 or 3 tonight. He was all around the net. His feet were moving. And so, it's the guys that we have a lot of guys whose production hasn't matched their abilities, just whether it's just from being snake bitten or not getting the bearing on your chances. And now that we're kind of starting to get some guys back in the groove of things, we're starting to look a lot deeper. And that's how we've always felt. We've always felt that we're deep, and maybe the statistics didn't represent that, but we feel like we got everybody pulling on the rope right now.
Just want to open it up to you, to anyone else who stood out. I mean, I'm going to say some of the obvious guys. Obviously, Sazy with another strong performance in goal. The top line also once again steps up and pitches in with a goal. Who do you want to talk about who really stood out to the coaching staff in a positive way?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is an outstanding week, and you don't have a week like this without contributions from everybody. Just starting with the back end, I think you mentioned Hunter Sandsbury playing the full 2 minutes of the kill, and there's a conversation between me and him with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game and a 3-1 lead that pretty much stemmed around change if you need to. And I don't think there was a chance he was coming off unless we got that empty net goal. And I mean, he's worked so hard to get to a point where he can handle, and he's just played since LeMay went down. He's been playing 30 plus minutes a game out of necessity, and it hasn't impacted him whatsoever. And speaking to that, like there's been a lot of guys stepping up, and Will Levine had another really strong game today where where he's got to kind of step up into a bigger role and do more. And, you have Rashinsky out with the 10-minute misconduct and defensemen taking penalties throughout the game where he's got to be thrust into more situations, and he's handled it very well, and he's more than capable of those performances. And it's good to see that. And then up front, I just really feel like we've got 4 lines that are rolling over really well right now. And I think it's in large part due to our depth down the middle and the way our centers have been playing, especially like Drew Bennett sliding from wing to center with Panetta out of the lineup. And Noah Serdachny is obviously playing way beyond his years and in the role that he's in. And Philip Jacques been one of our most consistent guys over the last 2 weeks here. So just positionally and the penalty kill and all those little things. And it's why, and then you talk Braden Fisher again, like another really strong game for him. But when you have those 4 guys down the middle who are bringing it every night with that consistency, when you have injuries and scratches and things like that jumble up your lineup, it makes the combinations of lines so much easier because, you got a guy down the middle who's going to drive the line and be good positionally and play 200-foot hockey. And, we've been really impressed with the growth of all of our centers. And, especially right now, it's a group that's pretty light on experience, but they're not showing it at all.
Perfect. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Looking forward to the next one.